Good evening. I'd like to call the meeting to order for the City of Spring Hill Municipal Planning Commission meeting. Today is June 10th, 2024, and it's 5:30 p.m. There are 7 members on this commission, and all are present with the exception of Alderman Federer. We're joined tonight by our planning assistant, Miss Lucretia Sappington, a fill-in for our city attorney, and our development director, Miss Dara Sanders. This is the regular voting meeting, so we will be voting on the items on the prepared agenda. There are copies of the agenda on the podium in the back, if you'd like one. Audience members wishing to speak to an agenda or non-agenda item will have the opportunity to speak at the beginning of the agenda, and we'll have 5 minutes to address the Planning Commission. For those of you who are not able to attend the in-person meetings, please submit your public comments regarding agenda and non-agenda items to pcpubliccomment@springhilltn.org. With that, we'll move on to item D on the agenda, public comment for non-agenda items. Do we have any audience members that wish to address the Planning Commission regarding anything that is not on the agenda? Okay, I don't see any. We'll move to item E. Do we have any audience members that wish to address the commission regarding anything on the agenda? Okay. That will move on to item F, approval of the May 13th, 2024 Planning Commission regular meeting minutes. They've been distributed to all the commissioners. Are there any corrections?
I move we approve.
Okay. Second.
Okay, all those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Minutes are approved, 6-0. Item G, approval of the agenda.
Move we adopt the agenda.
Second.
All those in favor of the agenda, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Hear none. The agenda is approved, 6-0. There are Jake, could we get your assistance up here, please? Please bear with us a moment while we get some technical difficulties fixed. Move on to item H, the consent agenda. There are 8 items on the consent agenda, and I'll read those now. Item 1, PC Resolution 2455 to establish a performance bond for Gospel Light Baptist Church. PC Resolution 2456 to establish a performance bond for Publix. PC Resolution 2457 to establish a performance bond for June Lake Phase B Section 1 landscaping. PC Resolution 2458 to release performance bond for FlexMet sewer lines. PC Resolution 2459 to release performance bond for FlexMet water lines. Item 6 of the consent agenda is FPL 1594-2024 for August Park Phase 2 located at Hurt Road. Item 7 is FPM 1590-2024 submitted by Crunk Engineering for John Mayer Builders Beach or J&B Beechcroft. Item 8 is FPL 1583-2024 for June Lake Phase 1 Pod B Section 2.
I move for approval of the consent agenda.
Second.
All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Hear none. The consent agenda is approved, 6-0.
Before we move to the next item, I just want to clarify that that would be with the staff associated conditions of approval.
Thank you. Okay, move on to item I, old business, there is none. Item J, new business. Item 1 of new business is FPL 1581-2024. Staff report, please, Mr. Reed.
Thank you. This item was seen at the May 28th Planning Commission work session. There were a few comments, mainly from Commissioner Duda about the bonds. I believe those were worked out with Ms. Caskey, Ms. Sanders, and the applicant. The request is to subdivide the previously recorded Lot 14 of Southern Springs Phase 1 into 4 single-family lots. What's currently there is the sales center for Southern Springs. As the Southern Springs development reaches its completion, the sales office is no longer needed. Therefore, the applicant is proposing to deconstruct that and make 4 single-family lots from that. Excuse me. Staff recommends approval of this application with 6 planning conditions of approval and 4 engineering ones.
Thank you. Is there a representative for the applicant here? Yes, sir.
Kevin Chapman with Del Webb/Pulte.
Thank you, sir. And are you okay with all the staff requests and requirements?
The ones that we saw coming into last meeting, there was some question about the landscaping bond. Since that has been decided, we were good.
Okay. Sarah?
Yes, thank you, Madam Chair. Planning Commissioners, as you may have noted in the staff reports that we updated, you'll see that we've amended some of the standard language, conditions of approval, including the landscape bond language. We already have a landscape bond for this phase, which is under the master bond. So we have amended the conditions of approval to be more specific to this project and the 4 lots that are being created, particularly with the existing landscaping, protecting the existing landscaping, particularly the street trees that exist on the site today, and then protecting and then repairing any sidewalk damage that may occur.
Thank you. Mr. Linville?
Thank you. So I just wanted to confirm with staff. So any required landscaping for this phase of the site would fall under an already established bond that has not yet been released, correct?
Yes, sir, that's correct.
Mr. Linville?
Do we have a motion on the table? Okay, I'll go ahead and make a motion to approve FPL 1581-2024 with all staff associated conditions of approval and findings of fact.
Okay. Please vote using the online system. Item is approved 6-0. Thank you so much, sir. That will move to item 2, STP 1170-2022 for caliper collision. Staff report, please.
Thank you. This item was seen at the May 28th work session and was not placed on the consent agenda. The applicant is requesting approval from the Planning Commission for elevation changes and material changes as shown on the updated elevations. I do want to bring up one discussion item. Per the Spring Hill Unified Development Code, Section 5.4B, building material restrictions, there are a couple. That states the following building materials are prohibited as a primary surface finish material on any facade, but may be used as decorative or detail for up to 20%. This includes corrugated metal, aluminum, steel, or other metal sidings, and lastly, exterior insulating finish systems, or EIFS. Which the applicant is proposing to change the full building material to EIFS from stucco. Staff recommends approval for the change in color, the stone on the front facade, and the new employee doorway. However, staff does not recommend the approval of change from stucco to EIFS. There are some conditions of approval that we would like to add. There are 3. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there is the applicant present or a representative? Okay. Typically what we do, right, is defer if they're not present. Okay.
Well, I'm just going to say I'm be supportive. The type of conditions that are being proposed are that they resubmit to staff, and that staff would be given the authority to approve if it meets, if in their determination it meets the standards or intent of our design review guidelines. So I know we have the ability to defer somebody that doesn't attend, but I think we would accomplish the resubmittal and allowing them to proceed with administrative approval if we move forward with the motion.
Well, I actually had some design review questions that I
Okay.
needed answered.
And they weren't at the work session either, so.
Oh, okay then. So,
So with that, since there's additional questions, I'll go ahead and move that we defer this item to the next meeting.
all those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Okay, the deferral is approved, 6-0. That will move on to item 3, PDP 1466-2023 for Wilkes Lane. Mr. Reed?
Thank you. This item was seen at the May 28th Planning Commission work session and was not placed on the consent agenda. The request is for approval of a PDP to rezone this property from Ag to R2 PUD to allow 222 homes with a mix of housing types, including 85-foot width lots, 51-foot width lots, and townhomes. There is a brief property description of what the project is trying to accomplish. However, staff recommends that this item is deferred to the September 9th, 2024 Planning Commission. This was brought up at work session, and Ms. Sanders can go into more detail if required, or I can answer any questions if required.
All right, thank you. Is there a representative for the applicant?
Hi, Jeff Rosiak with Campbell Design Collaborative. We are in agreement with a 3-month deferral to the September 9th.
I feel like 3
Planning
months
Commission.
is long enough.
Sorry,
Do you feel like 3 months is long enough?
it's a start.
Okay, all right. Thank you, sir. Commissioners, while they're here, do you have any questions or anything? Okay, Mr. Linville?
I was not at the work session, so I'll go ahead and preface that. I do think, obviously, the board has made it very clear that one of the things that's crucial to this project is the north-south collector. With adverse state action being taken from Thompson Station, I think this is realistically a much longer than 3-month time period that we're going to be working through this, because I think it's going to take coordination on a lot of levels. So in order for staff to not be required to check back in on this project consistently, I'm going to make a motion to table PDP 1466-2023.
Mr. Duda?
I believe in proper procedure. If a second is to that table, there will be no further discussion. Refer to.
Second. Second to the motion to table.
Question on the motion to table.
Okay. Please vote using the online system regarding the motion to table. Okay, the motion to table passes 5-1 to 1. I'm sorry, 5-1. With that, thank you, Jeff.
Thank you.
With that, we'll move on to item 4, Parks and Rec, regarding an honorary naming request. Ms. Casey Williams, I think you're here to fill us in on this.
Good evening, everyone. Casey Williams, Parks and Recreation Director. Hopefully you received an update to your packet this afternoon, had a little bit more information on this item. It's pretty straightforward, but I know it's a lot of information to absorb, so I'm happy to answer any questions or comments. Basically, this is an application from the family that is sponsored by Mayor Hageman to do an honorary naming of a local street here in Spring Hill. So you'll find the application in there. You'll find a full copy of the BOMA adopted naming and public recognition policy and how those different questions were answered, whether or not it was a valid application in the beginning. And then it takes you through the process in the staff report and then onto the resolution. So you have a favorable recommendation from the Parks and Recreation Commission. This would be a recommendation from this body to then send to BOMA to make a formal vote by the Board of Mayor and Aldermen. Just to be clear, this is not a renaming. This is an honorary naming of an existing street. No names will change. No current signage will change. There will be an addition of a small honorary sign that the family approves of and that the BOMA approves of that'll go along the side of the road, nowhere near where the road sign is.
Okay.
Is there anything else you'd like me to go into? Or
Commissioners, do you have any questions? Oh. All right, thank you. With that, is there any discussion on this item? Mr. Duda?
We're being asked to make a recommendation to the BOMA. So I make a motion that we recommend the Parks and that we agree with the recommendation of the Parks and Recreation and forward that to the Board of Mayor and Aldermen.
Second.
Okay. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? That motion passes 6-0. With that, we'll move on to other business. There is none. Commission comment. Is there any commission comment tonight? I don't see any. Staff comment. Ms. Sanders.
Thank you, Chair. As you all know, I've been reaching out. Folks from our office have been reaching out to schedule meetings with each of the commissioners. Thank you for the folks who've scheduled already and given me some feedback. I intend to start using more of the staff comment section just to increase transparency among the Planning Commission of some of the administrative actions staff has taken or will take, so that you all are aware of any actions that we may have been exercising per the UDC, but also so the public can be aware of any actions that staff is taking. So plan to hear more from me during staff comments. I promise I won't take up too much of our time. I know once the sun starts going down, everybody's like, I want to go home and eat dinner. So I will be intentional about the information that I pass on. So anyway, thank you for everyone for the feedback that you've given, and I look forward to meeting with everyone I haven't had the opportunity to meet with yet.
Thank you. All right, meeting adjourned.